These are the 7 levels of backsliding. Level 1 is the slow leak. And before you decide this one doesn't apply to you, stay with me for a moment, because this level is specifically designed to feel like it doesn't apply to you. Here's what it actually looks like. You still believe everything you've always believed. The faith is intact. You defend it if someone challenged it. You still show up to church most Sundays. You still bow your head when someone prays over the meal. You still call yourself a Christian without hesitation, because you are one. But somewhere in the last year, or the last 5 years if you're being honest, something went quiet. Prayer used to be something you couldn't go without. Now it's something you get to when you get to it. The Bible used to feel like it had something to say to your actual life. Now it sits on the nightstand and you fall asleep before you ever open it. Worship used to move something in you. Now you stand in the service and you feel present, physically present, and not much else. Nothing dramatic happened. There was no explosion, no crisis of faith, no moment where you decided to pull back. Life just got full. The kids got older and more demanding. The job got heavier. The years started moving faster. And God, who you never consciously chose to deprioritize, slowly got pushed to the edges of a life that kept filling up from the center. And because nothing dramatic happened, there's no obvious warning to respond to. That's exactly what makes level 1 so effective. Jesus says something in Revelation 2 that will hit you differently than you expect. He's speaking to the church at Ephesus, and he's not criticizing their doctrine. He's not questioning their attendance. He says, I know your works, your toil, and your patient endurance. He sees everything they're doing right. And then he says, but I have this against you. You have abandoned the love you had at first. Not the belief, not the membership, the love. The active, costly, first thing in the morning, can't stop thinking about it love that faith is supposed to produce. The Psalms describe it as a deer panting for water. Not a deer that has forgotten water exists, but a deer that is desperately thirsty and knows exactly what it needs. That's what the early love of God feels like, and at level 1, that thirst has gone quiet. Not because you stopped believing the water is real, because something happened to the thirst itself. James 4:8 makes something plain that most people read right past. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. That verse is not a promise that proximity is automatic. It's a description of how this works. It requires movement, and level 1 is what happens when the movement quietly stops. Nobody announced it, nobody decided it, the movement just stopped. And what doesn't move in the direction of God tends to drift in the other direction. Not dramatically, just steadily. When was the last time you felt genuinely hungry for God? Not obligated, not guilty, hungry. If you have to reach back more than a few weeks to find an honest answer to that question, that's not a busy season. That's level 1. And here's the part that matters most. Level 1 doesn't feel like backsliding. It feels like being a normal, mature, settled Christian who has a lot going on. That feeling is the thing to pay attention to, because level 2 doesn't arrive with a warning either. It arrives as an exception. Just one. That feels completely justified given everything you're dealing with.